Hi, John. Good morning. Can you hear me, John?
Morning, sir.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, did JC respond regarding the 26th class or cohort?
I'm not yet messaging him about that matter, but he is active on our
Oh,
personal direct messaging.
okay,
He is
okay,
always messaging me.
okay. Just let him know so that
Okay, sir.
yeah, the students would not be waiting. Maybe you can just give them something to do for the remaining hour. I think the lab session during that time would just be 1 hour. So
Yes.
yeah, it's just an intro session. Probably if you can leave like a recording of introducing yourself and what would be the expectations during the lab. I think that would be great. Not to have them uh, hanging. So
Okay,
for
sir.
today's session, we should finish Python for Analytics 1 and maybe half of the Python for Analytics 2. So my expectation would be on Wednesday or Thursday on our time, we'll be able to complete the Python session. And I'll be assigning on Wednesday well, I'm speaking about the PST, Pacific Standard Time, okay? It would be Thursday on our session. So I'll be assigning the final exam for Python. Are you keeping track of the grades?
Of the grades, sir.
Yep. So
Um,
yeah, before we end the cohort, please make sure that you keep on track of the grades because we need that for the tracking and also before we release the certificates. So I think only Nia. Um, I'm not sure what happened with her, but Nisa is already joining. So yep, I think we only have one student who will fail to complete the course. So anyway, I'll just be on the sideline. Okay. Hi Hasiba, welcome to the meeting. How was your weekend?
Hello, how are
Yep,
you guys? It
doing
was
great.
good. My weekend. I had some guests over. We
Oh,
had
I
good
see.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Before the pandemic, I think guestovers were pretty common. However, after the pandemic or during the pandemic, I think um, guestovers were a bit uncommon now, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because of
everything is
the health concerns.
getting back to normal.
Yeah. I think there's a negative
Yeah.
effect on the mental health of the people. Um,
It,
when they
definitely.
don't have any interaction with friends and um, acquaintances.
Yeah, especially for kids.
Yeah, especially for
It
kids.
was
I
very
agree.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have parks in there that are near so that the children
We
could?
have a community park near
Hmm.
to our house. So yeah, kids usually go there.
Yeah, it's good that they can run. They are keeping off the gadgets, keeping off
Yeah,
the internet. I think they should use those energies in their bodies.
yeah,
They,
definitely.
they they have more energies as compared to adults because of they like sweets and things like that. Oh, yep. It's good that you were able to maximize your weekend. So for this week, we will be finishing Python, and on Wednesday, I'll be assigning the final exam. Okay, for
Yeah.
Python, and you have until Saturday to complete it. Okay,
Okay.
so it will be a form of data analysis. So you'd be needing more time. I think the 4 hours would not be sufficient for you to do that. Well, it could be, but the quality would be sacrificed.
So
So I
yeah, the
think.
other day I
Mhm.
asked John if he would be available if we would have some questions about the exam and
Yes,
during that
definitely.
time.
Definitely, you can send John questions. Um, yeah, but John would not be directly answering like
Yeah, he said exactly
I
the
keep cutting.
same
Yeah,
answer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's for you. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to like remember all of the things that
How
we
about
discussed and apply those concepts in problem solving because we're almost done. I think when we finish Python, I think we're around 70%. Around 70% of the cohort, and the time would be very fast with Power BI. I think within 2 weeks, we can finish everything. And with statistics, I think within 4 weeks. So we are supposed to end in August.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
still have
okay?
like a month from now for the course. So I think that's enough. That's enough for the final project and maybe catching up with anything that you missed. So we're in schedule. We're on schedule. So everything's good.
Yes. So I still have some problem with the uh, functions. I just forgot the homework that we have.
Oh, I see.
Uh,
Hmm.
I
Um.
forgot the
Yeah,
name.
you can work on that with John during the
Yeah.
lab. Yeah,
Because
tomorrow.
today I wanted to do the homework, but it was like I was unable to
Today.
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I understand. I know
with the
that life
functions.
happens. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we have other tasks outside class.
Yeah.
We have a family.
What do you want?
So it's perfectly fine. No
What do
worries.
you want to eat?
Just
Hmm?
try to catch up, Hasiba, please, so that
Yeah,
you'll not be marked as incomplete um after we finish the classes. Okay.
yeah. Honestly, this cohort is very good for me. I learn a lot, and I
Mhm.
appreciate
Thank you very
your
much.
and John's hard work and dedication. Uh, for me, it's very uh useful. This
Thank you very
cohort.
much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate. So we'll be pushing through. We started with a good tone, and I will be we will be doing our best to end it also in a good tone. So we'll push through. We'll push through and make the remaining sessions as great as with the past. So we'll try to give you all of the things that you need so that when you apply for an entry level position as a data analyst, you can easily get it. because like what I said
Hopefully.
before. Yeah. But I want to be honest with you. The market is currently competitive. So after this course, you should be continuously upgrading yourself, whether working through projects or taking another class. Because remember, a competitive market, you should have an edge so that you can
Yeah.
increase the odds of getting the position. So if for example I'm the hiring manager, when I look into your resumes, for example, applicant A and applicant B, I'll be looking into their um, career development because it gives me an idea about their um, work ethic. If I see that okay, um, if if the other applicant is really exerting effort in developing his or herself, then I would see that okay, this person has a better work ethic, and most of the time, aside from the skills, and they're looking into that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
Exactly.
could possibly be that
Mm-hmm.
you have the same level of skills, but other other characteristics really matter, right? Especially that thing, work
Okay, what should
ethic,
I do?
passion, and so on. So
Exactly.
yeah, that should show in your resume, in your CV. There should not
Yeah.
be like a discontinuity of upgrading. Okay.
Where are you?
So I think my problem is a career gap, a seven career gap that when I left my country and
Mhm.
came to the United States, I didn't work till now. So right now, wherever I apply to, I think the career gap that I have,
Mhm.
that is nothing for the employers.
Yeah, they are very particular with the gap, right?
Yeah,
Just tell them the truth that you moved from your country to the U.S. and you used the time to study the language, to take care
yeah,
of your
Enough, enough.
family, and now that you're ready, you you join this course to somehow know the trends and get the skills. So just tell the truth.
What?
I don't think that it would really hurt you, right?
Okay, we'll
honestly,
Being
I
honest.
wait.
I just mentioned in my resume everything that why
Yeah.
I have this career gap, even
Mm.
the reason, but still, uh, it's very challenging nowadays in job market.
Yeah, the job
Uh,
market, especially for the
yeah,
IT, is very competitive.
yeah,
So you should not
yeah,
again, that's another characteristic, right? You should have the grit. Okay? Don't easily don't easily stop when you encounter this rejections. Push through, keep pushing through. You will find a company that will bet on you. Okay?
yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely believe that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the moment you stopped, like you were disheartened with the numerous rejections, the moment you stop, you're giving yourself zero chance,
Yeah,
okay,
you're
of
right.
getting
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
role.
Mm-hmm.
So even there's a slight chance of getting it, push through and try it. There's no harm, there's no risk, right? You'll be more
Uh,
experienced in doing it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm grateful for this cohort that I'm doing. Maybe after this, there would be more opportunity for me.
Definitely, definitely. And we'll be providing those. I mean, we have the student success advisor, and recently we partnered with an internship company called the 418 Intelligence. And we'll be recommending you to have this paid internship. So that would be an additional way for you to get the skills and at the same time relevant experience, right?
So, okay,
So
so is that like everywhere? Because right now
yes,
I'm in
th-
another part of the United States. Like,
yeah, this is typically remote, and uh,
okay,
it's just a brand new partnership. So we just started like last week.
okay,
So once you finish the cohort, then you will be included. The SSA will be reaching out to you, prepare your
okay.
CV, and prepare you for the interview and anything related to getting a job, and then hopefully you'll be shortlisted and be part of the first cohorts to take the internship.
So
Yep.
I should reach out to somebody, or they will reach out
No,
to the students.
uh, the SSA, Mary Jane, would be reaching out to you once you finish the cohort.
Okay,
So you have to
okay,
first focus on the classes, put your
okay.
effort to it, so that
Mm-hmm.
we can recommend you, right?
Yeah,
To the internship. So that's
yeah,
the first requirement
yeah.
to finish.
That would be very helpful if I would have a
Sure,
recommendation from you guys.
sure. And also
Yeah,
set up your LinkedIn account.
I have
Yeah,
one.
she'll be helping you to,
Mm-hmm.
with the advent of AI, these companies are also using it to filter candidates. So, they are looking, the AI is looking for like a keywords for particular job opportunities. So those keywords should be present in your CV. So those kinds of things, the SSA will be discussing to you.
Okay, okay,
Yep.
okay. Great.
So I think, yeah, the others could just catch up. I think they are at work, Jeff and Grace, and
You
we'll wait
can.
for Anissa also. So yeah, we can start, because I want to cover as many as possible during this lecture. There we go. We
Oh,
have Grace
yeah.
now. Hi,
Great.
Grace. Hi, Grace. Welcome to the meeting. Yeah, I think Grace is at work. Yes, I'll be sharing my screen. For now, let's do a quick recapitulation of the things that we have discussed, so as to refresh us with the things that we have covered for Python 4 Analytics 1. Okay. Am I sharing now? Not yet. Okay. John, please let me know if you can see the screen now. Okay. Thank you very much for the confirmation. So again, welcome to the second part of Python 4 Analytics. For the first section, as usual, we'll have a quick recapitulation, quick recap. Um, so basically, from the last time, we discussed intro to pandas. Pandas is a library in Python. It is Python for analysis, or for analytics and data analysis. Um, so it is the most commonly used library for data manipulation, data pre-processing, and doing minor computations, basic computations, particularly descriptive measures, through Python. That is, of course, together with NumPy or numerical Python, which is somehow built on top, where Pandas is built on with. And we discussed series, and we said that series are um, comparable to lists. However, there are major distinctions, like a series could only take um, inputs that are of the same data type, as compared to lists that you can somehow mix together different data types, such as numbers, you have strings, and even Boolean, right? So that's the main distinction between the two. Then we also have a comparison between series and a dictionary. Aside from that, um, we 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 showed how we can access the elements of a series through different methods, and we said that the most efficient one is to combine the list and the dictionary type of accessing elements. We also showed how we can mutate the elements, right, in a series, because series is uh, a mutable collection. And after that, we discussed data frames. So data frames is like an extension of series. Imagine having a series of, um, or having multiple series. Okay, so if you um, sort of join series together side by side, you'll be forming what we call data frames. And that data frame is a two-dimensional data structure that contains both a column and a row. Okay, and data frames are the most common data structure when doing data analytics with Python. So you should be well versed with how to navigate on this data structure. Okay, so those are the highlights of our discussion the last time, and I hope you don't forget the structures. Like for creating a series, you have the values, and one thing I thought, well, I forgot to highlight this is that with list, the indices are are by default starting from zero to and so on. However, with series, you can change them regarding or depending on how you want it. Okay, depending on how you want to present your data. The indices won't really affect your analysis. So the indices are, you can think of it as like um, a way to access the specific rows of your series. So that's the most um, well, that's the typical, I should say, the typical use of the indices. So in terms of analysis, it's not really affecting anything. Okay, directly, directly. So we had this practices, creating a series, and accessing the elements in different ways, right? And we highlighted this one that the combined style, the main difference of this with the actual list, with the actual list style is that the stopping point is actually included. But if you use the actual index, then you're basically doing accessing by elements through the index label, in which the stop value is not included in your output. So always remember that. So yep, we also had this practice, and hmm, let me identify where we ended the last time. So with the data frame, yeah, this one we added a new column, right? So basically with data frame, it uses the same principle as with list. When we want to access a column, we just use the square brackets. So in this slide that you're looking at, what we have in here is the creation of a new column. The new column is named total price, and we get the values or the inputs by multiplying the unit price and the number of units. So the output would look like this, in which we'll be seeing an added column at the rightmost portion of your, we can call this a table, okay? But technically, it's called a data frame. Call it a table, call it a data frame. It's easily understood that we have a structure like this with rows and column. Um, Yep. And so we have discussed the last meeting, the lock and the I lock. So basically this is a way for you to pinpoint a specific row in your data frame. So there are, well, different different way of presenting it. If you want to present it in this form, then you can just directly apply the dot lock, right? But if you want to say present it in like a tabular format, we have seen that there's also a way to do that. That is through using the double square brackets, and also you'll be using that when you want to access multiple rows. Okay, so the use of the dot lock and the I lock um, is for accessing a specific row or set of rows in your um, data set. Okay, or data frame, I should say. So here, what if um, what do we have here? Yeah, we have added a column here. So the first the first. I cannot call this argument because this is not a function. Technically, these are objects. Okay, these are um, indices. So the wheels and the doors, those are corresponding to the row names. Okay, and then the column names will be total price. So basically, what you're saying here is, I want to see the inputs from the rows, wheel, and doors, but particularly for the total price column. Okay, so after the comma, always remember that what follows after that would be the specific column. Okay, if you don't put anything after that, then essentially you just have this kind of thing, right? You'll just have um, all of the columns displayed together with the specific uh, indices that you have included in your codes. Okay, any questions with this, guys? Is everything clear regarding this? With a lock, with a lock attribute, this is not a function. It's an attribute of a data frame. Okay, so now proceeding to iLock. So this is an index-based variation of lock. So the good thing about this is you can just specify the number of rows and the number of columns, right? So here, what we're basically saying is that, well, up to the index value of 2. So if you're starting with wheels, doors, and the third, note that this, since we are using the index labels, the actual stop value will not be included. Okay? And we have here the column position, which basically uses the same principle as with the rows. Okay? It's just using the actual index. So it's not including the element um, represented by the index value of the stop position. Okay, we have this practice. I think you did it with John, and here are the answers to that, which is basically just a direct application of the things that we have discussed here. So it's only a matter of practice, so that once you need it, it would be natural to you how you would be using it. And well, most of the time, this would be context specific. So it depends on your goal, uh, because essentially these are just tools to manipulate your data frame. Okay. Now we are proceeding to reading a CSV file. So we mentioned that we have a couple of ways to do this. So I'll be discussing to you the three most common ways of reading a CSV file. So reading means importing the CSV file to your Colab. Okay. But before that, do you have any questions with the previous slides or the previous topics before we start discussing the CSV importation? Can I get a thumbs up to yeah
Hey, Jeff.
just
Hey, John.
Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the meeting. We just did the recapitulation. We just finished it, so we got in the perfect time.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we just finished the recapitulation, so
Oh, sure. Okay.
yeah, got it in the perfect time. So yep. So let's start with reading CSV files. So this is the first way. So if your data is stored in a CSV file, of course, um, it has to be on a CSV format. But before that, let me show you how to do it, okay? Because maybe you forgot how to convert an Excel file into CSV format, okay? So let me open my um, Excel here, and let me see which data set can we use? Um, oh, No, I have to do it the other way around. Just give me a minute. I'm looking for a file that we can use. So, yeah, for example, this one. Because by default, Excel would not give you the CSV format, so you have to do it yourself. Okay? So suppose you have this Excel file. So if you check on it, the extension of the Excel file is on let me show it to you here. It's on, if you do a right click, go to properties, show more options, go to properties, you would see this extension, um, .xlx or XSLX, details. Hmm, it's not showing here. It's too, this one, sorry, I overlooked that part. So currently, by default, your Excel file would be on this format, .xlsx. So typically, you can find it at the last part of your file name. So this is the extension. Now, we want to convert it to .csv, okay, because there are some advantages of doing that. So you might be thinking, okay, why not just import it as is? So one advantage of putting it in a CSV format is it somehow compresses the the memory or the size of the file. So you'll be needing um, less less resources to read the file. Okay, so it's advantageous if you're dealing with a very large data set. And yep, so let's proceed to how we would be changing it to a CSV. So once you open that XLSX file or any other Excel file, go to File, then click Save As or Save a Copy. Okay, before it's not Save a Copy, but Save As. Now, you will find this drop down option. Currently, it's on this version, right? The .xlsx. Now, what we can do is to click that and choose this one, .csv utf-8. So this is the version that we want our data set to be on so that there will be no issues when we import it to Colab. So CSV means comma separated values. So basically, you're converting it from being a tab delimited one to a comma separated one. Okay, so if you click on it or save it as in the notepad as a flat file, you would see that the values for each of the columns and the rows, well, the rows are separated by like a line, but the values are separated by like commas. Okay, the for example, you have one column, column A, and then another column, column B. The values, the inputs for those two columns are separated by a comma. This is how it looks like. Let me show it to you because you might not be imagining what I'm saying. So let's try to visualize the thing. Um, let me see. So we have here, for example, you have two columns, right? Column for age and column for sex. Now, this is how it looks like. So that would be, for example, one input would be 18 and the sex is male. So it would look like this. So this would be one row, one one observation, right? One sample, one sample, one line in your data frame. Then we have another. Now it's a female, 22, and then another male, and so on. So this is how it looks like when you view it in a flat file. Do you follow, guys? This is a comma separated value. And of course, we should say that the first line is for the column headers. Just for a while, guys. I think someone said. Okay, apologies for the interruption. So, yep. Where did I stop? Okay, so I was talking about the um what the CSV or comma separated value looks like uh in a flat file. So let's close that and um go back to our slides. So we have here a code that reads pd dot read underscore cd. So this is a function, right? This is a method, a function in pandas that allows us to read or import a CSV file. So notice that we have a PD right here. It stands for pandas. Okay, that's how we call on the library and its corresponding, could be a method, could be an attribute. Well, not really an attribute, but functions that are inside that library, to put it simply. Now, what goes inside this is something that is very complex. Okay, there's a way, there's a way to communicate, okay, your collab directly to your local device. And there's another way in which you can first upload your file in collab and then call it via its directory. So we will discuss both. Okay, we will discuss both. Now, um, here's the thing, John. Can you share? Let's see what data set we can play with. Um, what data set did I use here? Netflix. Let's see. Can you share this? Or maybe I can do it because I'm already here. Um, I was thinking about the Netflix data set. Do you have that? Okay, for some reason I don't have the Netflix data set. Let's see. Oops. Netflix. Give me a minute, guys. I think I've misplaced the data set. I should have it in here. Netflix. Is it Lab 25 dataset, John?
I will send it to you, sir. I think I
Okay,
found
okay.
it.
Thank you. I think I changed the name and now I can find it. Yeah. Can you just please put it in the chat box? I think I have the Twitter one. Sometimes I'm updating the files and then something
Oh wait,
uh
sir. I think this is a wrong file. So let me find the correct file first.
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. By the way, while waiting for that, maybe we can use a different file. Let's see. I have tons of data sets here that we can play with, but I just want to show to you the actual thing that I have in my slides. Let's look for an alternative here. Hmm. Yeah, maybe we can use this. So I'll be putting this in the chat box so that you can follow me when as I do it. Um, okay, maybe this one will do. Smart. Um, and give me a minute, guys. Okay, this one I guess would be good. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I think this would work. This would work. Let me share it to the chat box. Why is it allowing me to attach a file? Yeah, I don't have the upload option here. What happened?
You can send it to through the Discord, sir. Or
I'll
one
just
choice
send it to
is
you.
okay, sir. And then I will
Yeah,
paste it on the Discord.
yeah, I think I don't have the functionality of attaching anything in the chat box. I'll send it to your messenger, John. Okay. So, yep. So please check on Discord and open your collab. Um, okay. Okay. So back here. This is just the file that I've been using since the beginning of the Python section. I think it's better to have everything in just one file. Okay. Where am I? Okay. So let's see. What we want to do first. So let's do the first method. Okay, guys. Let's do the first method. I want you to click on this files tab, like on the 9 o'clock part of your screen. You'll see that file icon. Click on that, and um, once you browse through this section, these options would appear, and look for this upload to session storage. Click on that, and it will have a prompt that looks for the date set. So probably on your case, it would be on the download section. But since I have it in a different location, mine is quite different. So just upload that, okay? And you will see at the bottom that there will be like a status icon, and then you will see the file in here. So you would only see here the file once it successfully uploads. Okay? Can I get a thumbs up if you got the data set?
Not yet, not yet. Hold on.
Okay, okay. I'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you. Don't worry.
Actually, second.
Did you put it in the Discord channel, John?
Yes.
Okay. So please get it in Discord and then follow this process that I've just shown you. This is the easiest way. This is the easiest way to import your data set. Again, there are other ways that we'll be discussing, but to me, this is the easiest one. I'm always biased to the simpler process. If you can arrive to the same thing with a simpler route, then why complicate it, right? You have to work smart.
Okay, I have the data set. I just have to upload it.
Okay, okay, cool. Let's wait for the others. Okay, so once you have it, kindly follow the process. So it should appear in your Colab, probably similar to this.
Okay, why is my collab not? Okay, there we go. Upload.
Kasiba
Really
says
upload.
I uploaded. Grace says it's Monday where I overlap with work, so I'm not in front of my Colab right now. And yeah, I understand, Grace, and I figured out that you are working right now. So whatever error that you'll be
Wait a minute.
encountering during the time that you go back to this session, please communicate with John, okay, or during the lab, okay.
Hey, Jeff, can you show again? Because I'm getting error when I
Sure.
was uploading it.
Sure. Let me try removing this one. So you go to this. I hope you can see this file
Yeah, it's in the file.
icon. Yeah, and then go to upload files, and it
It's not
will
upload.
open.
It's not upload. Notebook, right?
No, no, no. It's this one. Upload to session storage, and then look for the file in your local device, and just click open. It will do the uploading after that.
Uh,
Upload a notebook is when you have a Jupyter notebook in your local device. Maybe we can reserve a time for that. I think I may want to show you that process.
oh,
Okay.
file browser. Let me see. I think I
Yeah,
got it.
it should be a file.
Oh, come on. Warning that your files are saved somewhere else. Runtime will be deleted.
Yeah, it's okay. Just
Yeah, I got
say
it. I
yes.
got it.
Yeah, basically what it tells you that once you close the session, you have to upload it again. It's basically what it's telling. So it only exists short term in
Okay.
your environment. So once we have that, we can close it now and then start importing it. Okay. Yeah, it's already imported in Colab, but we have to write the code that can display the contents of that data set. So we'll be calling that DF, which is basically referring to data frame. And then we'll be doing PD read underscore CSV. And what goes into the argument or yeah, on the argument of that function would be the directory. So go back to here and copy path. Okay, right click on it. It would show you this options and click on this copy path. And then that's what goes inside this thing. Okay, but it has to be enclosed on quotation marks.
df
Let's try running
equals
it.
pd
Okay.
read
Okay.
DSP.
I encountered an error and I want you to help me debug it, guys. How can I fix this?
Do you need the content?
Sorry, can you say it again?
I'm saying that if you already uploaded it, do you still need the whole beginning part, the content slash?
Um, hmm. Basically,
Can you
yeah,
just do
you're
research questionnaire?
um just research questionnaire here.
Yeah, like can't you get rid of that whole content slash thing in the
Oh, okay.
beginning?
That's a great idea. But first, yeah, let me ask
Oh,
you what
PD is not defined.
yeah. So what do we need to do here first?
So def PD.
Okay.
Wait, PD dot read. What is? I forgot what PD is.
PD is pandas. So basically it's telling us that it doesn't know what PD is. It's not yet defined.
Yeah.
So we have to define it first, right? The reason
Yeah.
for that is we haven't imported it yet, right? So that's the problem here. Import pandas as PD. So uh, as I highlighted before, the libraries that you import only exist during the session. So once you close your collab, you need to rerun the importation again. But during the same session, it's not necessary for you to import it in every cell. Okay, that works for every library in Python. So those
Oh,
libraries
so
must be
actually,
run.
so PD is the official library from Python.
Exactly. It's a Python library. So let's try running it again. There we go. Now, what Jeff was saying earlier is that is it possible for us to just remove the thing? Is it possible to just retain it as is like this? So let's try. Yes, it is. Why is it possible? Because you've already uploaded it in here, so you don't necessarily need the path. You just have to um, plug in here the name of your file. So Python would automatically look into the uploaded files, or not Python, but Colab. So it will into this that refers to the name that you put as argument in the read underscore CSV, and then it would identify that thing. So you're a step ahead when you ask that, Jeff. So
Oh,
now, how can we be sure that we have successfully uploaded the file? We can just print it, right? It's just simply doing the df, and which would show you the data sets, right? So these are the data sets in our this is kind of like compressed version. So we will talk about how can we visualize this in a better way in the upcoming discussions. But now we just want to see that okay, we have indices starting from 0 and so on up to the last. So we have 273 rows,
how did
and
you
we have
check the
59
file again?
columns. Just print the DF, simple as that. So you can just run the DF or print it. Do explicit printing. So when you do explicit printing, it would look
Okay.
like this. Yep. And these are the date. Oh, sorry. I think I committed a blunder here. Um, this will just be for the purpose of discussion, but I should have removed the username. Um, I think that's a sensitive information that John, can you remove that version and try to delete that column, please? Sorry, my that's my error. Okay, so yep, here are
Or
the
can you
information.
edit it in there?
Sorry, Grace.
If we can add a column in a data frame, can we delete it within here?
Yes, in fact, we have a specific discussion for that. after we have seen how the like the different methods for reading a CSV is. And as you're thinking, how do you do that? You can use the del function. Okay, but I won't jump into that because we want to be structured. But it's the del function. How can you cite a column? You use the square bracket. So basically, del df this. So let me show it to you. So we have the column names right there, username, right? I wonder why we have a slash in here. Um, or what I can do is instead of specifying that, the I can just specify the actual um, thing in here. What was that again? Was it? Yeah, it should be the username, right? See it again. Yeah. So we just apply the del function. Well, yeah. Just a quick detour, but we will be discussing this in more detail. Username here. Oh, is it the email address also? We can add that. Username. Oh, user. Is it showing me the actual name? Hmm. Let's try the email address first, and then print the df. Oh, and print it again. Yeah, it should not contain the email address now. So basically, oh, it should be username with the capital, right? My bad. Username. So as simple as that. I mean, Python is very easy to, its functions and methods are very easy to remember, and you can also delete the names, right? You can delete this also. We can do it. Let me see. That is for um yeah, 1, 2 for the column part. Um, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2. What was that? 0, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3. Can do this. Dot iLook. Yeah. Mm,
A column, sir.
forgot the column. Uh, no, it's telling me that the pairs are. Let's try running this and observe the error. Uh, comma. Let's see. Look. I think this should be like this inside. Let me see. Hmm. I forgot the structure. Uh, let me check on it real quick. So del df that iLock What did I miss? It's telling me that invalid syntax, so this should not be the case here. So I specified correctly. Uh, should it be just like this? No. Hmm. Give me a minute. I forgot the structure of that. What I'm trying to do here, guys, is to specify through the iloc method only the specific column that I want. It's like a different version of what we just did. Again, this is a more complicated one, but it's good because um, sometimes you have to delete multiple columns. Yeah, I don't have to use the colon here, right? And this should be it. Uh-huh. df.iloc. Um, let me see. What am I missing here? 1, 3, 2. Uh-huh. What if I do this? Attribute error. No. Let's see. I'm missing an element here. Let me jump to that part. Uh, no, it's not in here. Give me a minute to stare at it. Let's see. Let's look into df that iloc. And then if we want only the column, we just have to specify 2 in here. The 2 rows 0 to 2. 1 to 2. Yeah, 1 row. So that's it's getting the row, which is correct. Now, if we specify here that this is for 0, 1, 2, 2, 1, or 2 to 3. This is what's what am I missing here? Okay. Unlock 3. Um, okay, so we have everything now. So for the first position, it should be this should be the rows, and then the column would be, for example, column 3. So it should show me all the names or age for this one. Yeah, this is like exactly what I did earlier, but this is the name, right? This is what we want to delete. So now I can del that. Okay. It's not allowing me to delete. Okay, there should be another method. What method did I use in the past to do this? Del. Wait, give me a minute. Del. So the del is not working. I've successfully isolated this column with the column for name and 272. Hmm, getting other method here aside from the del. Del B type object. Yeah, I'm thinking why is it giving me why it's not allowing me to delete it via this method. Attribute error del item. So this thing gives me this. Well, let's make things easier. Just delete it similarly through the process that I did here, right? Delete it by specifying the column name. I'm suspecting that, but I did it in the past with the iLock. Let me try to remember that. But what we can do here is just specify the name, right? This thing, and it would be directly applied to our data set, and it would remove that. Name optional. I think I have issues with my I forgot the one. Can't recognize the column. There we go. Now I'll be trying to remember how I did it in the past with the iLock. There should be a way, but my 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 thinking is that this doesn't really refer to the data set, but it specifically shows only this part right here. The why it's not applying the del function it's not really referring to the actual data set. It's just a way for you to like display a certain portion of it, but it's not really affecting the data set or the data frame directly when you apply the any method. So let me try to remember another way of doing it via the dot block and iLock. Because both of this they are specifically designed for the rows, not necessarily for the columns. So that could be one reason. But I was thinking that since they are referring to the rows, once I apply the del function together with this, it would delete all of these rows. But yeah, it's not working. Okay, just give me a minute to fix the thing. Okay, so um, that's how we import the data set to our Colab to this file option. Now, I'll be showing you how to do it in a different way. I also use this because it's, well, natural. So I want you to copy this. Okay, I want you to copy this part from Google Colab. John, can you send a screenshot of this to the chat? So let's try doing that in Colab. So um, uh, what's happening? Okay. Just for a while, I think I have some issues with my power. Slideshow from beginning. Okay. Where did we stop? This one. So let's move to Colab again and just copy that. Okay, so let's type from google.colab import files. Okay, and then uploaded equal files of dot upload. So this code snippet, these 2 lines of code, what it will do is it would open a prompt that would allow you to browse through your files in your local device. Okay, but it should go together also with the pandas library and another library called IO, input output. So as you can see, the moment I run it, these 2 lines of codes, it gave us this buttons, cancel upload and no file chosen. So click on choose files, then it would open a bridge to your local device. So you don't necessarily need to upload your files to your Colab. So just be familiar with the location of your file in your local device. So click on it, open, and then as you can see, this would be uploaded in here with the following information: the name, the size, last modified, and the status. Okay. Do you have questions, Jeff?
Hold on, I'm trying to see.
Just copy this exact.
Yeah, I did that. I did that.
Then it open. Yep.
Okay, and I can choose. But what do you mean? I'm trying to understand. What do you mean by using this together with the Panda?
Yeah.
Oh,
The thing is,
you still have to import the Panda.
yes, you still have to use pandas because now this process that we did for these 2 lines is similar to uploading it here. But you still have to use pandas to read it, similar to what we did at the top earlier, right? So as you can see, I now have 2 research questionnaire here because what this 2 lines of codes are doing is it's automating the process that we did here manually. Do you follow? So basically, what's going
Mine
on
still
under
one. Mine still showed one file, even though I already
it's
had a
still
file
one.
before.
It should be 2 by now. Once
Oh, never
you
mind. I have 3 now.
okay. Yeah. Whenever you run it and run it over again, you would see that there would be like 1, 2, and 3 for the copies of that data set.
Okay.
Okay. So yep. Similar to how we did it earlier, we have to um read it through the pandas library. So I'll be importing it again. just for the purpose of discussion, but I don't necessarily need to do it again. Okay, I'm just doing it now for completeness, and I'll be using another library called IO, because I will be using it, okay, in writing or displaying that file in here. So io.bytes.io actually allows us to display the uploaded file, okay, and you just have to copy this thing, and the good thing is it gives us the option, and then yep, that's basically it. And then printdf would give you the same thing earlier, and then you just have to manipulate it again. Okay, now while waiting for you to complete that, let me figure out how to use that iLock, because we left it hanging. So let me look for ideas.
Uh, Excuse me, what is IO?
Input output, it's a library. Oh, okay. Now, okay, now it makes sense. It should be drop. Let's see. Huh. Dot drop column label. Let's try that. I can. Were you able to do it, guys? Were you able to run this without any errors? Um, I can try df.drop, and what goes in there is the actual index. Column label, column label, df.drop, um, columns equal to, should give me the options here. Tables, let me see, index value, which should be, okay, let's see, df.info. Oops, sorry. Should be index one. Let's try one. Should I try remove the first one? Yeah, the username. Hmm. I don't need the square brackets. Not found in Access.
I tried the name of the column itself.
The name itself, not the index label.
Yes,
Hmm.
it worked on me, sir.
Um. I was thinking that the argument here must be the index label. Yeah. So this is one way. Let me think.
Hey, it doesn't work for me when I do username.
It doesn't work for you.
Yeah,
Which
when I
part
do
here?
columns.
Columns equals
Wait, what's
this one?
sorry? I missed that part. Where's the IO byte? Whatever.
Jeff, can you say it again? Your
What was the
volume is
thing that
quite.
on top that you had when you were reading it?
This
Something
one?
about IO dot bytes.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, yeah. Can you see it? Yeah,
Yeah.
io.bytes. So basically, we're accessing this method, this function from io, which is the library that we used here. And then we're just saying, okay, from the uploaded file, which is this, get the research questionnaire.csv. So that's what we did in here.
Wait, hold on. No, so it's the same thing as using the prompt to upload, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, but why did you do the IO bytes IO instead of just the upload it? Because I think
Um, Actually, it won't work. Um,
what's the point
what
of the IO bytes? I forgot what is.
you might be thinking, okay, can't we just do the same thing like we did earlier, like do the
Yeah,
df with pd
yeah,
dot read underscore csv, and then that
correct,
just input the name, right?
right.
Let's see this here because it's already existing in the files, right? So
Right.
okay, uh how should I say it? Let me think of the correct term. Okay, correct way to explain it. Okay. Um, okay, first is it's perfectly fine to do it this way. The reason for that is it's already inside this. So basically, the thing we did here is like an automated process of what we did earlier, right? Instead of doing it step by step. Now with this, okay, with this is where we are trying to avoid. I'm thinking of the error that I encountered before that requires me to do this import IO, um, this IO library. Let me think. It's like when you unwrap the data set that you have uploaded in here. It's something about the memory. I can't explain it. I can't explain it i- in a specific way. But in the past, when I do this, I kept on getting errors. So the solution that I found that time, there was no chat GPT yet. I found in the Stat Overflow that using the IO together with the read underscore CSV actually eliminates that error that I encountered before. But to put it simply, okay, this import IO is not really a requirement if your goal is just to put your data set in a data frame, in a pandas data frame um, format. So you can simply just get this name of the file that you have uploaded, similar here, because it's already existing in your Colab notebook, and then just run it similar to what we did earlier. So actually, the core steps here is this cell with these two lines and this. However, in the future, if you encounter some issues regarding um, something related to the memory or the unwrapping of the file, try adding the IO. It would eliminate that problem. But it's not really a requirement for you to upload your data set. So um, it's like a preventive measure, okay, to avoid the error when you unwrap the data set. So let me put it here. So this part actually, even the import pandas, because we have already um, imported it. So this part with the IO is not a strict requirement for you to upload your CSV file. However, if you encounter errors regarding the reading of the file, then the the fix would be to use IO. Okay. So let's put it that way here. But again, as what you've seen, this would work even without this. Okay. And let's go back here. So basically, we are using the dot drop method instead of the del, and we are. Someone's calling again. Just for a while. There's someone. There's at the gate that keeps on calling. Uh, okay. Sorry for that. Yep. And I've actually added it here. Let's go back to the slide. Sorry for the interruptions. Um, or upload using the session storage, then use number. Basically what we have discussed. So let's go back here. Basically we are using the dot drop to delete a particular column here, which is basically the same thing with delete del and specify column name.
This is
Okay.
weird because it says username not found.
Um, maybe you have troubles with how do you call this, the spelling, Jeff?
No, USERNAME.
You have it the same way as with me, Jeff.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait,
let me
what?
think.
Hold on. I'm looking at the file.
Um,
I'm opening up the information. Can you show me real quick the show hidden output for
this one,
not this one, but the one before that?
this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Wait, mine looks different. Wait. Hold on. I don't have the email address on this one.
maybe John already deleted it. John, or okay, look, can you show your screen? I'm curious of what happened with your data
Oh
set.
yeah, mine does not have username. That's why. I'm looking at the info. I have age, sex,
Uh,
and the section.
okay, there's a possibility that you're actually looking on the same data set wherein we applied the deletion earlier, and not really on the new one.
Wait, I thought the new one was the one with the deletion.
Uh, no, actually, okay, let me clarify that. Um, I've deleted already I've deleted the columns that are sensitive, like the username and the names, right? Um, but that's it's a different data set. This one is a different one. And what I was thinking that happened to you was you're trying to call on the same data set in which those columns are already deleted. That's why when you try to delete it again, it's telling you that it doesn't exist. Now, here, this is a different one. I assigned it to the same data frame DF. So basically, it overwrites that that old data frame, and it contains again, as you can see, the username and all other things, which is basically the raw data frame that we had earlier. That's why it shows when I do the dot info,
Right.
it
Yep.
shows all the information, right? Is it the case, Jeff?
That is the case. No, I mean, because I was looking on Discord, it seems like John,
Yeah,
he
John, I
uploaded.
think edited the data set, right, John? You
Yeah, he
uploaded
edited the data set and he re-uploaded it.
okay. That makes sense now.
And,
So
and
what
then I overwrite my original one that downloaded it
with
because
that. Okay. Yeah, so that's the explanation to that. So you have a completely different data set as compared with me. So you won't see any username in there. So
good.
that explains things. So yep, there are different ways, as I said earlier. You can use the dot drop, you can use the del in deleting a specific column. You can, um, there's a way, I've done it in the past multiple times. There's a way to delete columns through the index labels. Index labels, not index as you would think of it through the rows. You can specify like the count of the columns that you want to delete, but not really needing to specify the actual names. Okay, so let me show you that. Um, there's no attribute call names. Let's try that info again. So here's that index that I was referring to. Even though they are columns, you can use that. But let me add it to the next discussion because I already forgot the method. I'll be needing to go back to my notebooks for that. Now let's go back here to the slides because I want to discuss to you how to describe data. So this is under descriptive statistics. So there is this in intersection between Python and statistics now because we will use the idea of statistics to describe our data set, okay? But before that, I want you to use this dot head. So this df dot head would give you the first 5 columns by default of your data set. This is similar to what syntax is that in SQL?
Limit 100, limit 10,
Sorry, Jeff.
limit 10, limit
Yeah,
one,
limit.
limit.
Yeah, exactly. The limit thing. So you can actually specify the number of rows that you want. Say, I only want 3. What goes in there would be like the number of rows. You can even just say 1. But the default, of course, would be 5. So this is just a way for you to verify, do you have the correct columns, and so on. So it's just a way to have like a quick overview of your column names, right? I do it that way. And let me see. Um, there's actually a method in pandas to um, yeah, should not be call names but columns. So df dot columns to display the column names, but I prefer the dot info. It's more structured. Um, and it offers you so much other information. So that's dot head. And what if you want to see like the last n lines of your? So let me put here here a comment to see the first n lines of your data frame. Now to see the like the last lines, so to see the last n lines, you can use, of course, you guessed it correctly, tails dot tail rather. So by default, when you don't put any argument inside, it would show you the last 5. But you can also um, put a specific argument in there, specific value to see the last one. As you can see, this is the last row. Okay, so the dot tail. And what if we want to see the statistics? Okay, let's go back to that. I prepared something. So the dot describe would give you the typical descriptive measures in statistics. Okay, such as the count, the number of observation, the number of rows that you have in your data frame, the mean, which is just your average, the STD is the standard deviation of the sample, okay, not the population. The min is the lowest score, okay. 25% is the first quartile. The 50th, the 50% is the second quartile, which is also equivalent to your median. 75% is the third quartile, and the max is the highest value. Okay, so this would
I have a
only
question.
be, yep, Grace.
So, in order to give you like mean and standard deviation, you'd have to look at like a value set. So, would it be like dot describe and then release year inside your argument?
Um, wait, I
If it
did
if it was a column of ages, how do we tell it to describe the column ages?
you basically when you apply the dot describe in your data frame, it would generate the descriptions for all of the applicable columns. However, if you want to say I only want the mean, there's a method in, I think the dot mean is a method of a specific library. Let's see. You can do it directly. Like for example, um, let's see what we can age dot mean. Unexplained, unsupported operand. What do we have here? This type. This is a series. Let's see. Oh, there are missing. Okay, so currently the reason why we aren't able to apply it is because we have missing values that are being read as object. And we know when a column is read as object, they are strings. So we should do a pre-processing step here to convert all of the NANs, or basically to remove them if they are substantial. So that's one thing that we have first to remove. Let's see other columns that we can try, um, or just maybe I can. Let's see. I'm guessing if there are like a column here that we can use. But to answer your question, Grace, let me create my own data frame so that um, we can somehow have a like a concrete answer to that question. Don't want to keep you hanging. Um, let me see. A, then B, 4, 5, say 3, 2, 3, 4, and then let's have another one C. Um, and that is equal to 2, 1, 3. And then convert it as a data frame. The PD dot data frame MyDF. And let's see that data frame if it's all good. Okay, now this, for example, a MyDF A would be dot. There we go. So now, since this column, we are certain that it is a numeric type. Okay, we don't have any missing values in there. You can directly apply this dot mean function to get the average. Um, but what if you use the dot describe in there? You would see all of the relevant statistics, not only the mean, but others as well. So I think this was the question. Grace, was I
Ca- Can you
able to?
scroll up again?
Yep.
Sorry. So then there's three columns, A, B, and
Yep.
C of data, but it's only giving you the mean, min,
For A,
max standard for column A.
exactly, exactly.
Okay, that was my
Um,
question. I was like, how do you tell it which column
yeah,
to describe?
targeted.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But the default, Grace, is when you apply the dot describe without
Oh wait,
specifying the column.
you put A in the DF though, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I missed that.
I,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
then when you don't put anything, is that what you're doing now?
yeah, when you don't specify the column, what the system will do is it will look for all of the columns in which your dot describe is applicable to. So it's only applicable to a D type int 64. So all
Yeah.
of those that are numeric. So that's basically what's happening in here. So you have this measures for your column A and for your column B. So if we try to say change, let's try. I don't want to jump into that this time, but we can change any row in here through the lock method. I'll be showing it to you in a bit. And try to apply the dot describe. It would tell us the same error here, the one we encountered before, that it's not applicable to that, mainly because it's not of a D type int. Okay, so yeah, let me go back to the slides and yeah, show it to you. This is actually the question of Grace that I want to discuss, but yeah, this is just of a different data set, and this refers to a particular column. So again, the count, number of observations, the number of rows, the mean is just the average, STD is just the standard deviation for the sample, minimum and maximum, all of those are relevant statistics. Um, so we have here the dot info, we have already shown it to you. So here, if we apply it to this toy data frame that we have, apologies for this data set, guys. This is not yet processed in a way that it would look nice and tidy. Because if, for example, I want to import it to Python, I would have um, like edited it or revised it in a way that it's not that long, the column names, but since these are like raw data sets from a survey, that's why you see it like that. But of course, for the purpose of analysis, you may want to shorten it. Okay, so apologies for that. This is like a not a prepared data set. We just pull it out during the early discussion of this session. So going back here to the slides, the dot info would show us relevant information, very useful information. The dot info is a very useful one to have a glimpse, an overview of what you're working with. So it shows the columns or variables that you're working in, the non-nulls, or rather number of rows in your data set that are not missing. Okay, so it would give you an idea about the um, about the degree in which your data set has in terms of missing values. So if your missing values is like 30% of your data set, that's substantial, right? That's extremely um, that extremely large. That's huge. So it warrants further investigation. It should answer the question, okay, why is it that 30% of our data set is missing? It could be, in this case, if it's a survey, then there must be a flaw in the design of the questionnaire. There might be that you're asking very sensitive information, or it could be that uh, to put it simply, there must be an underlying reason. That's why 30% of your observations are missing. It could be concentrated only to a specific variable, such as this, like the information about the director is like missing by around by more than 2,000 observation. So yeah, it's a skill for you to develop as a data analyst, that hey, something's wrong with this. So the next question or the next thing to do is to ask yourself, what should I do? Given that 30%, say 30% of my observations are missing, should I proceed to imputation or replacing those missing values? Or should I proceed to omitting that variable? Would it hurt my analysis? Would it hurt my model, my predictive model? Would it be so much to remove that variable, or can we do away with that variable and still be uh, still arrive to an acceptable result or recommendation? So those kinds of things. Oftentimes, it's it can be developed through experience, but uh, we will be discussing that in our upcoming lectures. What to do with the missing values, because it's quite common. Okay. Now, converting data types. This is something that we have discussed all the way back to like the second week of the Python discussion. Remember how we converted this list into a tuple, and like in general a collection of numbers into a string. Okay, we can do it also here with pandas data frame through the as underscore type. Okay, as underscore type. I think there's a typo in here. So let's try that. Okay, let's try that to our John, can you take a screenshot of this and paste it in the chat box? So we would be referencing first to the column, right? We would be referencing to the column. So in this case, let's work on this data frame that we have. this one that I just created. My df should be my df. Okay. So this my df is just created earlier. This is simpler if you just want to highlight what the process is or the function is doing. So my df, let's reference to it. Which particular column do we want to change? Let's say column A, and we would be applying as type. Say this is currently a numeric, so we will be converting it to a string. Let's try running this. It tells me series object has no attribute as type. I think. Wait, what did I do wrong here? Series object has no. Yeah, this should be a series because it's just one column. It's telling me that it has no attribute as type. Um, Let me think. df string column, df numeric column, as
The
type.
underscore, sir. As that as type without the underscore based
Without the
on the
underscore.
just based on the presentation under the for
Mm,
example.
Wait, let me clarify that. Let's create a basic series here. Right. My string just my int 35. We can convert this into a string by str, right? String my int, and then my string that type. Um, info info string. Okay, I'm complicating things. It should just be type the type function. Um, yeah, it's already string. Now, did I just committed a typographical error here? Probably. Yeah, probably I just committed a typographical error here. So instead of having an underscore, yeah. So instead of having underscore, let me correct that. It should be without the underscore. So now we have successfully applied conversion to a string here. Now, if we try to describe that, right, we know that we would fail because the does describe only works with the numeric one. Let's convert it. df my df my underscore df a should be updated now by this, so that when we try to describe it, yeah, now as we can see now, the description is now for a count variable, or rather, not a count variable, but a string variable, an object type. So it's showing us the count, number of uniques, the top, and the most frequent one. So the top should be A, and all of those are just having the same frequencies. So that's how you do it. Earlier, when we just do this without applying to the actual DF, it's not changing the type. It's not being applied to the DF immediately. So this doesn't apply to the actual DF. So you have to do variable assignment to explicitly tell the system that you want to apply whatever changes you do here to this column here. So that way, it would now be a string in the actual data frame. So let's do my df.info, and we'll see that it's now a string, right? So that's how we do it. Let's see. So there are other simple functions that I want you to know. So the dot unique, like for example, um, do we have the same thing as with this in SQL? I forgot if we have a similar syntax. Um, count. There is, right? There's a way for us to query in SQL only those unique values. Is it unique together with a count? Um, yeah, but there is. We know that there is. I just can't remember the actual query, but there's a way in SQL to derive the unique observations. I'm pretty sure it should be near the actual keyword unique, or is it a different term? What's a synonymous word for unique? Distinct. Okay. So the distinct keyword is what we're using in SQL to do the unique. But in Python, it's exactly the unique um, function, right? That word to get the values, the unique values in your column, right? So the other thing that we have would be the counts, which is like the count function in SQL. Without value counts would give you um, um, the, the count of its unique values in a column. Okay. So some notes here. Value underscore counts automatically orders in descending order of count. So let's do that here. If we apply the value counts, let's try it in the bigger data frame. Let's try it in a DF. So DF, and then let's try the name. Well, all of those would be unique, but do we have a column here for gender? Let's see. Info. Let's revisit that big DF. We have sex here, optional. So what we can do here would be to DF reference to that column. I'm lazy, so I will just copy this and then hit it with a dot unique so that, well, of course it would show us. Oops, I screw up with the spelling. So we have male, female, of course, and then NaN. So NaN is now considered like a third category in there. Those are missing values. And what if we want to know? Um, let's print it. The counts, right? The counts of that through the value counts. So what do you expect to see? So here there are 148 and 108. Okay. And you don't see the NaN in here. D type in 64, so referring to the counts right there. Now the total, if you get the sum of this, would be corresponding to the missing values, right? Now let's go back here. And look at this practice. I think we can, we don't have sufficient time to go over the next one, the next topics. But yeah, let me go through this. So practice number 5, unique versus value counts. So the unique function, it will just it won't give you the actual counts, but it will just give you the categories in your columns. But for the value counts, it would give you the count for each distinct or unique value in your data set. And data types and data frames, object and 64, we know that objects are for strings and int64s are for integers. So this is unique for data frames. Well, in a series, if you look at it, there will be a series of strings, a series of uh, integers, a series of floats. And that's all. Let me just give you a preview of what will be our discussion the next meeting on Wednesday. And by the way, guys, on Wednesday, I'll be assigning to you the final project for Python. I said project because it would be a data set that you have to manipulate and you have to analyze and derive insights from. And I'll be giving you from Wednesday until Saturday to complete it. Okay, let me show you the plans that we have for Wednesday. So it will be a filtering. So in the filtering, the skills that you want to have would be accessing the columns and accessing the rows. So through the dot log, through the dot ilog, through the um, slicing, through this using the square brackets, and the missing values. We will be talking about the three different types of missingness: missing completely at random, or what we call simply as mcar. We have mar, which is missing at random, and we have mnar, which is missing not at random. So those three types would would tell us, okay, what method should we do with the missing values, or what would be the succeeding steps? We want to foresee the structure of the missingness before we do anything, because there are dangers whenever we try to just haphazardly input values in the missing values, just assign values to them haphazardly. That would bring more errors in our data set. Okay, and we have the outliers. Like I think you have an idea of this. It's a very could be a very large or a very low value that violates the homogeneity or the grouping of the values. That's called an outlier, and there are other treatments that we have to do with it because it would screw up our measures, even our analysis. So we have to first detect them. Okay, what are the methods that we can do in order to detect these outliers, and then map and apply. Map and apply are methods that we can use in order to effectively navigate through our data frame. So all of this all of this are prepared, and we'll be circling through the data frame structure. Okay, so this is how um, you filter your data. But there's a shortcut here. Once I discuss um, how things work through this, we can do it in a more elegant way, shorter way. I just want you to know how things are going on under the hood before we do the shortcuts. And that's it. Basically, if you know how to navigate through your data frame, you can, for example, change any values in it, delete any values in it, um, delete all the missing values, detect them, count them, and so on. Um, you can do whatever you want in your data frame if you know how to navigate through it. And then what follows next would be the analysis. And that's why we will be discussing statistics. So we will not be leaving with just the mean, with just the standard deviation. We will be discussing, okay, how can we statistically say that two groups are indeed significantly different and one group is better than the other? How can we predict values like you know that there is significant relationship between your x variable and your y variable? How can we take advantage of that relationship to predict what would be the potential value of your y given a set of value of your x with a given degree of confidence? Um, how can we say that, okay, a drug is 95% effective? Like imagine COVID-19 vaccines. How were the scientists able to say that this is effective by this amount, by this degree? So those kinds of things we will be discussing. Okay, so we just have to be adept in navigating through our data frame. There are so many ways to do it, but you pick your own. You pick your tool and where you're comfortable with. Okay. So that's all we have for today. I apologize for taking some of your time in your lab, and also for not giving you any break today. I think I've had so many distractions going on in here. So, by the way, I hope you learned something new. And if something's unclear, or maybe I discussed something very quickly, or not very much clear, there is John, who would help you with it. Okay, just let John know. Let John know about those things, and use the time in lab. So thank you very much, guys, and hope to see you again on Wednesday. I enjoy again this session. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Jeff.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah.
How are you? How are you, everyone? How was the class?
a lot of information.
A lot of information.
Yeah, lots
So,
of information and staggered.
so that is also the my first response. The first time that I saw how to somehow manipulate the things, how to manipulate data frames through the Python console. But yes, it it is a lot of work to do. Like previously on our last meeting, we just covered how to create our own data frame, and now we are summarizing the data frame that we have. So I think we need to establish first the fundamentals or the basics of, for example, how to access columns, how to access rows. And then let's apply, let us just apply how we can somehow summarize them. But I think the thing that I can share to you before we proceed to that, for now, let us maximize the time that we have, because um on this week, I think on this Wednesday during the lab session, I might not be able to meet you again since I need to go to the university. We have toga fitting and graduation rehearsal during that day, and it will overlap on the time that we have. And that is one time rehearsal. So if I miss that, I might not know what to do on the graduation day. So for now, let us maximize this and let let us try to understand it. I will explain it in the simplest way as possible. Okay, so let's try that. So previously on our last meeting, we have some introductions and the Pandas library. We have some introductions, and during the last meeting, we have um, introduced how can we convert things, how can we convert series or a tuple or a list into a series, and how can we create data frame. And the last time, if you can still remember that, we explored how can we access the rows and the columns of a data frame, or you can think of it as a table in the Python. And we know the last time that a data frame, it has this structure. Let me remove this colorings first so that you can see it clearly. Let me change this into the green so that you can see that it has the same level. And this is blue. Okay. The last time we know that a data frame is just a table, and a data frame is just a combination of multiple series, right? It if you have two or more series stuck together side by side, it is now called a data frame. And a data frame, you can access its elements using list-like methods, which will utilize the indices, positive or negative. And we also have dictionary-like way of accessing elements using the modified index. The same case for the columns. We can access the columns using its index or using the name of the columns itself. We, it is divided into two categories. One is accessing single items, okay, one row at a time or one column at a time. You can access it using the index or the name of the column or the row. And another thing is accessing multiple items, and that is also divided into two. The first one is whenever you try to access columns that are beside each other and rows that are beside each other. And the other one is accessing columns that are not beside each other and rows that are not beside each other. So I hope you can still remember those things. And we also covered the last time how can we add another column. Okay, the last time we covered that. How can we add another column? And on the beginning of our session today, we now have introduced how can we delete a single column or multiple columns in our data set. So overall, those are the things that we have covered so far. And now we also introduce some of the basic methods. We can call it methods. It is safe to say that these are methods embedded under the pandas library. We can apply it on the data frames. So methods such as, wait, let us see, where is it? Or this one. Okay. These methods such as the dot head, or first before that, we now determined how can we upload our CSV file in our Python. So there are a lot of ways, but me preferably, I use this method one, wherein the same syntax, you should have these two lines at the top, and you are somehow defining a data frame using this pd that read CSV. So you are reading a CSV file, and what will go inside is the path of your file, which should be uploaded here, right? So there are three dots on the side that you just need to copy path, and that is the thing that you will paste here. And let me show you how did I perform the tasks. Just a summary of the tasks that we performed today. So first, this part we have uploaded the file research questionnaire that we have, the one that was sent on the Discord. We just uploaded it on the Python console on the system that we are working with right now, and we called that a data frame. Its name is DF. Okay, the name of our data frame is DF, and the first method that we have applied to analyze this data frame is df.head. So inside, there are multiple ways how to use the head. You can leave it as blank, and by default, it will give you the first 5 rows of your record. Okay, 0 to 4th index. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So first 5 rows of your data frame, it will be presented. So in case you want 10, so you need to type 10 and at the inside the parentheses. In case you need just 3, you just want to see the sum of its contents together with the name of the column, you can indicate 3. Okay, and as you can see here, we have a lot of columns and rows. So all in all, what I saw here earlier is there are 59 columns, but we can determine that by using the .info, df.info. If we apply df.info, it will show us all of the columns that we have. Okay, that is one of the parts of the outputs. It will show us the all of the columns that we have, but somehow this data set that we are handling right now is chaotic. Commonly, if you upload or if you uploaded a data set in Python or even in Excel or even in other programming languages such as R, also in statistical software such as Stata, SPSS, you might want to use codes instead of the name of the columns itself. Like, for example, this one, domain 2, domain 2. So domain 2 dash A, domain 2 dash B, domain 2 dash C, just to make the column names shorter. So that if you, for example, in Python, after you apply the .info, this part, the left side will be short, and right after that is the information about that a particular column. In the column, when we apply the .info, we can see how many are the somehow we can see how many are the missing values. What else? The data type of that particular column. We have covered it earlier. If the data type is object, it is just a string. If it is int64, it is an integer. Okay? And if we have objects, we cannot apply some mathematical operations such as the mean, the median, the standard deviation, so those things. What else can we see? What can we see here? we can see here the number of records that we have. All in all, we have 59 columns and 272 rows. And to confirm that, we can use the dot tail, df dot tail. The same use for the heads. You can leave it as a blank. You can add a number there. And the output of this should be 272. So all in all, there are 273 rows. Because remember, our indexing starts at 0. What else? Okay, here 273 in entries starting from 0 index to 272 index, and there are total of 59 columns. Okay, so somehow at first look it is chaotic, but if you take a closer look into it, you will get there, you will see some useful information. Somehow it will give you how big your data frame is. And remember what are the steps that we are doing in the SQL. Do you still remember that? Like somehow understanding the properties of our table, like what is the meaning of each column, what's the meaning of each row, and we can see that each column represents some of specific information about the participant, and each of this row represent a participant. Okay, and we also applied here some of the techniques how can we modify a data. But one tip that I can give you is before you modify your data frame, create a copy of it. Okay, create a copy of it before you modify your data frame. So the question is, how can we create a copy of your data frame wherein whatever you perform on the copy will not modify the original version? So you can use that copy. So we are creating a new data frame, not totally new, but somehow a copy of your data frame, df, and you are assigning it to the variable name df2. So your df2 is a direct copy or somehow a carbon copy of your data frame. But the thing is, whatever you perform on the copy of your data frame, df2, it will not affect your original data frame. So that's one thing that you might want to perform whenever you want to manipulate your data frame. So here, the reason why I created a data frame copy is because I will remove, or we need to remove columns individually, or we need to remove some sensitive columns such as the username, the email address, and the name, right? So those are the things that we need to remove. And we can see earlier that we have two ways to remove columns. One is by using the del whenever we want to remove columns individually, and one is by using the, what is this? The dot drop. But let us focus first on the del. This has a similar syntax on dictionaries, like similar syntax as deleting elements or entries and dictionaries. So we are using del as the keyword. So okay, if you will run the df2 again, so let's try to do that. If you will call df2, I already performed it here. So if you will run df2 again, and here we are using head 3 just to see the first 3 rows. we can see that the name, the email address, and what's the other one? The username is removed from our data frame. Okay, so that's one way to remove things. So what's the other way of removing things? That is by using the dot drop method. Okay, using the dot drop method. Using that drop method. Here, as you can see, before I proceed to the dot drop, notice that I created again another copy of my original data frame. Our original data frame is the DF, right? And we are just creating its copy and we call it DF3. Because if we will apply the deletion on the DF2, okay, on the thing we previously deleted this, we will encounter some errors because since these columns are already deleted in our data frame, if we will apply again this part, deletion, okay, if we will apply that again, we will encounter error that says that columns that you are trying to remove does not exist in your data frame. That's why we are pulling again another copy of our original data frame, and that is where we will apply the deletion of the columns. So since we just we successfully created a copy of that, uh, we applied this dot head 3 just to check if the username, the email address, and the name columns are there. So let me hide this. So here we are dropping or we are deleting these particular columns. So the syntax goes like this. The name of the data frame followed by that drop. And then inside the dot drop is the columns keyword. And then equal sign. If you are just deleting a single column, you can just directly type it here. User, for example, like that. This will work. Okay? But since here we are deleting multiple items, we are enclosing it into a container. Just to tell Python that I want to delete all of this. And all of them are equal to the columns. So let me remove this and let us run this cell. And by using this, it should, okay, after you drop that, after you remove that data, that columns, we just assigned it into this name, df3 clean. Okay. And to check if it really created a data frame that is clean. So let us call the df3 clean. You can use the dot head, and then 3, or the dot tail. Either way, it will show you the column names. And as you can see here, you will not find username, email address, as well as the name. One of the methods or one of the things that Python is doing is, for example, you call that data frame, or it is the same thing as printing it, but since this is the last thing that happened on this cell, this is the only thing that happening on this cell. If you do that, it will present you the first 5 and the last 5 rows. The first 5 rows and the last 5 rows. But if you are just interested on the top, you need to use that head. If you are interested on the bottom, use the dot tail. If you did not indicate any, so it will present you the top and the bottom. And for now, I will skip this parts. Another way of there are multiple ways of uploading files on the Google Colab. There is also another way, like you need to upload first your datasets on Google Drive, and you will link your Google Drive to the Google Colab. So that is also another way. But for me, especially when you are dealing with just a couple of datasets, this method one is my favorite because this one is straightforward. But remember, for example, we close this notebook. Okay, take a note of this. For example, we close this notebook. The next time that you will use this notebook again, you need to upload again your files here. Okay? You need to upload here the research questionnaire file in order for this to run. Because whenever you close that notebook, this memory will be cleared. That's why you need to upload it again. But it will not, there will be no change on your codes. You just need to hit run for each cell again. Method 2, let's skip it. And as well as this. But here, let's focus on the head, on the DF3 clean. Okay, the one that we just performed right now. And we just applied the .info, just like what we saw earlier. It will show you the data type as well as the number of the missing values. The .describe will apply these following things: count, mean, standard deviation, the minimum, the maximum, and the percentiles. The 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 50th percentile, take note of this. This is the same as the median. That is the middle value of your dataset, 50th percentile. And what else? The .describe will just apply the operations on all of your columns that are numerical, either integer or float. And if you want to specifically apply, if you don't want this, like you don't want
Excuse
to.
me, John.
Yes, yes. Asiba.
What's the clean? What is the role of clean here?
This is the name of your data frame. Let me go back for a second.
You just
here.
name it.
Wait. At this part. This at the top. From the data frame tree, which is just the copy of your original data frame, we have removed these columns, right? And that new version of remove of the data frame in which these things were removed, we just assign it into this df3 underscore clean. So df3 underscore clean is the name of our data frame in which it doesn't contain these values or these columns. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we can proceed now. Remember, df3 is just a copy of your original data frame. df is our original data frame. This is where we uploaded the CSV file that we have. We are just creating its carbon copy and storing the copy in the df3. Now, we are manipulating the df3 in which we are removing these values, these columns. And that modified version, we are storing it in this df3 clean. That's why df3 clean here is the name of your data frame only. So let's wait for this to run. What else? The dot info, we have discussed that the dot describe, as we know, it is applicable only for numerical values. And if you applied it like this, df3 clean, and then followed by the dot describe, you are somehow telling Python that apply the dot describe or compute for the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum, 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile, and maximum of all the numeric columns that I have in my dataset. So you are focusing only, you are interested only on your numerical columns. That's why here you would not see any other columns in which the info, based on the info, is an object. Okay? That's why somehow this should be the step-by-step process that you should be looking for after you uploaded your dataset in the Colab. First step, this is somehow a tip. Like, for example, you perform your exam. So these are some of the tips that I can give to you. The first step is after you uploaded your dataset in your Colab, use the .info. No. Understand the data that you have. How can you understand it? Assess how many are the rows and columns. What is the meaning of each column? What is the meaning of each row? What that row represent? What each row represents? Okay. So somehow understand your data. Okay. The next thing is, a part of understanding your data set is what are the data types of your column. Because for example, there might be a case wherein you have a column. Let's say, let me open this file. You have a column that you know it is about sales. So let's have here bunch of random numbers. You know that this column, imagine this is a column. In your data frame, this is a series. And you have the name of the salesperson here and other stuffs. However, because of the $sign, Python recognizes your series as a string. So that is important because if this is a string in Python, Python would not calculate its mean, its standard deviation, those central tendency measurements that will be helpful to describe your data. So what are the data types of your column? Okay. And do you need to convert it into its proper form? What else? Do you have missing values? If yes, why are they missing? And as we have covered on the previous meetings, and as well as the one that we will cover on the next meeting with our instructor, you will find some of the reasons why a data is missing. So it might be because it is just random, because of an accident, it is missing at random, or missing not at random, meaning there is somehow a pattern why it is missing. And one important aspect is how many or how much of your data is missing. Because based on this, why are they missing, how much of your data is missing, you can come up with a decision whether you will still use that data or you will just completely delete that row or column. Okay? But it depends on your assessment whether why they are missing or how much of your data is missing. And this part, like the deletion of the entire column or entire row, it it is like the last choice that you have, because as much as possible we don't want to delete data from our data set, because that is a loss of information. And in this field, each loss of information corresponds to some costs. Collecting that information costs some money from the company. And if we cannot utilize that data set, it is somehow a loss for our company. So you need to take a lot of consideration before you remove something from our data set. If that data will somehow poison our data set, it will somehow deviate or represent some um, information that somehow wrong. We can that is the time you will decide whether you need to delete it or you need to neglect it. But that is somehow the last line of defense. What else? Aside from the missing values, determine if there are outliers. Okay? This is for numerical values. These two lines is for data that are numbers. This is for number data. But the way you treat categorical data or data that are strings somehow can be divided into categories. Like somehow the level of education, elementary, high school, college, master's degree, PhD degree. So the way you treat categorical data is different from uh, treating numbers. Like it is not logical to compute for the mean of the marital status. Like it will not make any sense, right? And that's the reason why you need to understand your data. And somehow the way we encode categorical data in our data sets is like this. For example, this is one way only called one hot encoding. Like 0 is for single, 1 is for let us 0 is blue, 1 is red, 2 is yellow. Like for example, you have a data about a survey, what is the color preference of your customers, somehow like that. But the point is the way you treat categorical data is completely different on the way you treat numerical data. And here you need to be cautious. You need to be alert. Why? Because some categorical data can be encoded as numerical data. Like, for example, elementary level education is encoded as 1. High school level education is encoded as 2. So, not all numbers are numerical data. Are numerical data. Not all numbers represents numerical data. Sometimes it represents order. Sometimes it just represents a symbol. Like for example, commonly in the field, male is encoded as 1, female is encoded as 2. But it doesn't mean that one is higher than the other. It's just a representation. So not all numbers are numerical data. So those are the some of the initial steps that you might want to perform whenever you are handling data. Okay? And after you perform this, like you address the missing values, you address the outliers, you will proceed to the what we are calling EDA, exploratory data analysis. It is intimidating at the first time that you will read this. I'm not sure if that's the case for you, but for me, the first time that I saw this exploratory data analysis thing, um, I was intimidated. But if you will take a closer look on EDA, if you will search for this, let me see, how can I add another tab? Or let me just open another Chrome. Let me unshare my screen first so that I can click the plus button at the top. Because the reason why I am sharing you these things that are somehow outside of the Python class is because um, I have a feeling that you will handle a data and you will manipulate it through Python. So it is also important that you know what are the things that you will do. Because like for example, it is easy to search how to perform, like for example, how can I remove outliers from my data set? So that is easy to feed to ChatGPT and it will give you a code. But the input we're in, when do you uh when can you say there is an outlier and when can you decide whether you need to remove it or not? So that is on your part. But the coding part, it is there are a lot of examples online that you can use as a basis. Exploratory data analysis. So EDA, in short, it helps you to summarize the main characteristics of your data sets. Sometimes you need to use some visualization methods like histogram, bar charts, pie graphs, just to determine, for example, how many are the males, how many are the females, how many percentage, how much percentage of your respondents finish master's degree. So you can easily see that on a pie graph, bar graph. So those things. And the way we visualize things in Python, there is also another library for that. And but at this point, I don't expect any extravagant, fancy graphs in the Python since all of us are beginners and we are not familiar on the libraries that we can use. But I'm just giving you a hint wherein EDA is to summarize characteristics of the data. So what are the characteristics that you should see or you should be analyzing? Because characteristics it is a broad term, but in with regards to the EDA, sometimes it is about the distribution. So how is your data distributed? What distribution? I think we will cover that on Wednesday during the discussion or during the lecture day. The distribution, what else? The skewness, your data skewed. If your data is skewed, mean is not the best tool to represent your data. So you should consider that. And also the missing values and outliers is also part of this outliers. Because not all missing values needs treatment. Sometimes it just needs to be understood. The same case as outliers. Not all outliers should be removed from our dataset because some outliers might give you a very important information that you might utilize to change the direction of the company. But for now, these are the things that I can give to you. Under the EDA, you can include here the visualizations. And I hope you can still remember how we are visualizing things. Like if you can still remember our sessions on the Excel, when can we use the pie graph? When can we use the bar graph? So those things. EDA, what else? For now, and I think for the exam, you are not expected to do some highly advanced techniques such as um, analyzing the relationship between two series or two columns. So those things are we are not expecting those because here what we are trying to establish is somehow how can we use the Python to perform some of the basic steps that we are doing on Excel, and how can we utilize these things that we can extract here to somehow describe your data. So we are more on describing the data in terms of its patterns, in terms of its trends. Is there any fluctuation? Is there any rise or very low values in our data sets? So those things that might give us some hints on um, describing our data sets. So this is not the formal way to discuss how data analysis works, but the way I remember and I understand it, based on my own experience and interpretation, how I understand things from the textbooks and from the sources that I read, this is how I summarize things on the back of my mind. So I hope these things can help you in analyzing and performing basic analysis in your in any data sets that you will handle. I guess even in the field, before you perform those tasks that are complex, these are the things that you need to consider. Because this will give you direction. What is the next thing that you should be performing? The same applies when you are using not only Python, but also other programming languages and softwares. Aside from that, what are the other things that we have covered? The dot head, the dot tail, the dot info, dot describe. So, or what else? We also have the dot unique and that value counts. I prefer value counts because aside from it, it presents us the unique values. It also presents what are the counts of those unique values. So for example, you have this data set, MF, M. So these things. And imagine there are thousands of rows. If you use value, if you will use that unique, okay. Let's say the data frame of this is records. Records is the name of your table. And imagine there are other records here as well. But for now, for the sake of our discussion, for the sake of our example, imagine these have records, but we are focusing on this. So that unique, if you will apply that unique to this specific column, it will just give you F and M. That's it. But if you will use that value counts, it will give you F and how many are they? Let's say 10, and F, M, how many are they? 5. So those things. And if there are other categories, it will be presented here. At the right side is the count. That's why sometimes I prefer value counts over unique, but it depends on the context. If you just want to see the unique values, then go for the unique. If you don't need this part, the counts, go for the unique. But if somehow you need the counts as well, then go for the value counts. There's no problem in that. It is context specific, but the difference between unique and value counts also returns the count or how many times that distinct value appeared in your data set. And all in all, in this Python class 1 for analytics class 1, those are the only things that we have covered. Like we have the data frame, starting from how you can create your own data frame, how can you access its rows and columns, and how can you upload a data frame that is based from a CSV file. And what are the common things that you can apply? We have the head, we have the tail, we have the info, we have the describe, value counts, and the unique. Okay? Those are the things that we have covered so far. And aside from that, I forgot this part. Value counts, no. The dot describe will give you everything, right? It will show you many statistics that such as the count, the mean, standard deviation, but in analysis, sometimes you don't need everything. You just need, for example, the count. You just need, for example, the minimum. So you can compute that individually by using these keywords. The dot count, first you are accessing from your data frame, what's the specific column. Okay. My data frame or the table that we have is DF. The name of the column from this DF is release year. And here you are applying the dot count, the dot mean, depending on what is the thing that you want to know. That count will literally give you the count. How many are they? How many are they in the records? That mean will give you the average. Standard deviation, minimum, this is maximum. The 50th quantile is the median or the middle of your data set. 25 and 0.75 is the first and third quartile of your data set. On Wednesday, when we meet again our instructor, this part will be discussed further. But you can read it online so that during the discussion next meeting, you have some prepared questions like what's the meaning, what's the context of 25th percentile, what's the meaning of 75th percentile, what is its value, why it is important. So those questions that might help you understand further the things about this, why we are performing this. So those concepts. So that is one of the things that I can suggest to you. Maximize the knowledge of our instructor because he has a lot of technical knowledge about data analysis and statistics. So I suggest all of your questions about statistics and handling, like for example, these things that I shared you today. If you are wondering how can we perform that, you can open it with our instructor. Okay? And I think that's it. Aside from that, do you have any questions? Tomorrow on our lab
Hey,
session,
can you,
we'll
John? Can you show the notepad again on the notes? Just want to take
okay.
a.
Tomorrow on our meeting, we
Thanks.
will have okay, Jeff. We will have some practices just for us to be comfortable in handling data frame through the Google Colab. I think one of the main factors that are somehow hindering us is at this point we are not yet comfortable in manipulating our datasets in Python. But once we reach that confidence, just like what we have in the SQL, I think most of the things will be easy. It is not easy, but it is easier compared to what we are currently right now. So let's have a practice tomorrow. And if you have specific questions, don't hesitate to open it. And I might know what the answer is. Okay? So any concerns or questions?
We can
Anyone?
practice anything. We can practice anything tomorrow, right?
Yes, yes.
Like, I think loops is my weakest one, but it's like done a
Oh,
lot of practice on loops too at the same time. So I don't just
actually,
I'll take a
okay.
look. Yeah.
Actually, we can apply loops on the data frames. Maybe we
Yeah.
will share it like for 5 minutes. Let's take a look on how it works. Like, let's apply it on the deletion of the columns. Like, it will loop through the columns. And what else? Maybe some creation of the data frames and accessing elements from the data frames.
And access.
Single items and multiple items. Just to be familiar of how can we slice things from the data frames. What else? Some describing, some interpretation. Maybe if we still have time, we'll somehow introduce how can we somehow interpret the output of our codes. Let's say we calculated the average and the standard deviation. What's the meaning of that? We know the average is the mean, but what's the meaning of the standard deviation with respect to the average? So somehow let's introduce that if we still have time tomorrow. Okay? But you
And
can
also the functions.
okay, the functions.
And functions, yeah.
The one that we have in the canvas. Okay, let's also do that.
So guys, anyone did the homework? I still stuck.
I did do it. There's only 5 questions on that functions. Like between John showing us number 1, 4 is similar. I googled something. I think I used ChatGPT on one of them, but I like made sure to, you know,
Mm.
what did it like translate it to the question or something like that.
Mm.
But surprisingly I got there. It's just so, a lot of times like when I read the prompt on a function question, I'm like, I don't know how to display square root as like how do I put that in a way that's readable? Does that make sense? I don't know. Like I'm so used to like
Okay.
square root, like you just draw it. And so
Ah,
every
okay.
time it's like or express this or find a way for the system to find this. And the first like 2 thoughts is always like, I don't know how to do that.
Oh,
So
okay. So
that's really hard with functions.
like
You know, it's
the
not just like,
translation.
okay, yeah, exactly. Like, okay, put a plus sign between A and B and there you go. Like Sometimes the
Okay.
prompt is very tricky.
Oh, yes. Regarding the square root, just like
That
what you
one
said,
was
we are just
square
throwing
root to
it.
the 0.5.
Yes,
which was-
yes, exactly.
Or
That
square root, not square
that
root.
is
To the
equal to
exponential.
the exponential. Its exponential form is. Let me show my screen. So let's maybe it will not hurt if we will cover some minutes. Square root of, let's say, square root of 10, let's say, square root of 10 is equal to this. 10 raised to the power of 1/2 or 0.5. Are you familiar with the cube root? Let's say cube root of a number. Cube root of 8 is 2. The concept of square root is this. Let's say square root of 100. So you need to find a number that if you will multiply it by itself, you will get 100. So 10 times 10 is 100. That is for the square root. But for the cube root, you need to multiply this number by itself 3 times. So this is multiply by itself twice. This is multiply by itself thrice, and the pattern continues. Fourth root, we also have that. Fourth root, let's say 16. Fourth root of 16 is 2. So multiply 2 by itself 4 times. But how can we convert it into the language that can be understood by Python? So this is the way. This is equal to 100 raised to 0.5. How about this? 8 raised to 1/3. This is 1/2. 0.5 is 1/2. So if that is a square root, raise it to 1/2. If that is a cube root, raise it to 1/3. If that is fourth root, you guess it right, raise it to 1/4. So what's the pattern? The denominator of the fraction decides how many times you want it to be multiplied by itself. So square root of 100, you need to find a number in which when you multiply it by itself, so 2 times, okay, 10 times 10, you will get 100. This cube root of 8. You need to find a number that if you multiply it by itself thrice, you would get 8. So 1/3. Thrice is 1/3 cube root. So maybe let's have additional practices about this, yes, tomorrow. And I think let's start on the loops and functions tomorrow so that we will be structured. Like for the first, let's say 40 minutes of our time tomorrow, let's cover the loops and the functions, and the remaining are let's use it for the data frames. Maybe that will be our time allocation tomorrow. And if you still have some suggestion, you can still raise it tomorrow. Like, for example, you have a concept that you want to go back into it, we can also do that. Okay? So any concerns or questions aside from that? Everything is good?
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, so see you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John. Have a good one.
Thank you.